Hey. We got about 4 minutes tonight. I got the music cranked up for you a little bit. Hi, God bless you. Hope everything is well. Glad to be with you. I got the aromatherapy going tonight, man. I tell you, I am excited. Couldn't wait for you to get here. Last Monday was a holiday, so that kept us from hanging out together, but we are ready. Splash a little water on your face. Put that note on Facebook. Splash a little water on your face. Get yourself all woke up so you can get this tonight. Gonna be a little bit on the technical side. That's all right. It's all good. See you in just a second. Oh, that's good tea. I don't know about the Corvette clock tonight, y'all. Oh, man. I hope you're ready. Tell you what, I've had an interesting week. Had my identity stolen a couple times. Trying to boost some things on Facebook, and then Facebook, I use copyright-free music. Always, even if you're hearing individual songs when I come on or longer ones, it doesn't matter. I use copyright-free music. And Facebook, man, I don't know why they didn't do it back in January, February, but decided to come after me. And I've been having some issues with YouTube. I had to clear up some stuff that I didn't do, and yeah, been a little on the weird side. Kind of expected it, but yeah, all of a sudden, all at once, kind of weird. All right, well, let's see if I can find the right button here. Yeah, this is no copyright, relaxing Christian piano instrumental music for different Jesus screensavers, church media. That's a whole lot. That's a mouthful. Hey, Pastor Jackie Jackson, as always, welcome to the Urban Apologetics channel. Always excited for you to be here. Man, we have got a show for you tonight. It's going to be amazing. Hope you brought your thinking caps, Welcome, as always, to the Man Cave. I am your host. Hopefully the host with the most. I hope I'm going to absolutely blow your mind and make you feel like, you know what? This guy might be right. He may be getting ready to make me the smartest person in the room. He just might be right. Because he's going deep. Man, listen, I got a little bit of a confession to make tonight. And that is that I'm learning along with you. I've been studying this stuff for years. Matter of fact, two of the articles that I'm going to actually read to you tonight, not that'll be on the screen. There it is. I think that's about what? It's about a minute off. I got to work on it again. It's a battery issue. But two of the articles that I'm going to read to you, I read back in February, thought about using it then and didn't. I mentioned them and owned one of them long before that. But looking sometimes at things with fresh eyes or with, at other articles, like I'm going to show you something tonight. I'm just learning this myself. So we're working on this together. All right. So I'm here every Monday, every single Monday at 8 p.m. And I also want you to know that I'm on Wednesdays now, and I'm not going to call it a special show anymore. I'm going to be around. I got a lot to say and a lot that we need to work on. As always, if you are watching this on YouTube, I am also on Jackie Jackson Facebook. I am grateful that the YouTube audience is growing. Some of it's not as fast as I wanted to, but getting ready to hire somebody and have them come on board, and they're going to handle some business for me. All right. Also, if you are watching this on Facebook Live, I am also on YouTube Live at the Urban Apologetics channel. Just asking you to please like and subscribe. All right. Also want to mention to you, I've been asking for this for Wednesday night. If you have any stories of heroines, right, or heroes, what I want you to do is I want you to send me the first name, photo, if you want me to use it, and a short synopsis, maybe a paragraph, just explaining the story. Now, if it turns out that you write it longer, I'll kind of maybe edit it down or whatever to save time. But I want to honor not just black women and black men that are famous, that many of us know. I'll introduce you to some I know I will that you don't know. But I want to take an opportunity, to they're great people that have influenced our lives, and we want to acknowledge them. All right, I got to fix something from last week. Sorry I'm off camera so long. That's going to happen a couple times today. We were talking about the Asian folks last week. And, 97.4% of their genetic makeup, it proves that they are humans from Africa. But that's not the problem. Neither is Peking Man the problem. No, the problem was me last week. I could not get my mouth to say the word Naki, right? Naki, so I decided, okay, Nashi or Naki, let me go ahead, let me put it up where these guys can see it. Because this is significant. Na means black. Ki or she means people. The original Naki people living, right, that we could consider to be Oriental were black. Right? That is an actual picture, bottom right. All right? That is more like what they look, that's more what they look like today. However, it's more of what they look like today, but DNA evidence, as usual, I told you I'm not going to just throw something out to you. DNA evidence has proved their black heritage, that they descend from Africa. Now, sometimes Asian pride, Japanese and Chinese, sometimes their Asian pride doesn't want that to be admitted. They want to feel like whatever they've accomplished, whoever they are, they started with themselves. It's not true, but that doesn't take anything away from them. See, it's not I hate to say this, and it doesn't come out right. So wait a minute. I apologize if I say this and it doesn't come out right. You need to understand that my agenda isn't to prove that everybody in the past is black. They were, and I can prove that. But not for the purpose of saying that one group is superior to the other. It's to undo anybody who thinks that one group is superior to the other, and to make sure that you understand, no matter how supreme you may think you are, you started off with people that are actually darker than me. Very, very important for you to get that. All right, so, yeah. The Asian people, the reason their eyes are like they are, science says, because of wind. Constant winds when they were living in mountainous areas. You know, their bodies adjusted to that. And I like the word adjust better than I like the word evolve, right? Because evolve has the connotation of evolution, which I'll deal with in a minute. But yes, the Chinese people, I know that's shocking, originate from the black man. All right, I haven't even told you yet. This is adult story time. I'm going to move on kind of fast, but I did mention evolution, and I want to have a conversation with you about that. To suppose, this is Charles Darwin speaking, I've mentioned this before, to suppose that the eye, with all of its inimitable contrivances, could have been formed by natural selection evolution seems, I freely confess, absurd. I freely confess absurd in the highest degree. Now, what he's talking about here is he's actually being a bit facetious, right? He's actually being a bit facetious. Because after this, he makes some statement about the sun that we didn't understand how, the sun and how it works and stuff like that. However, his theory is still a theory. There are certain things about the sun that he mentions that, they've been proven as fact. We know the world isn't square, all of that kind of stuff. I am a creationist, not an evolutionist. I believe that God created the earth. I believe he did it in 6 days. Now, 1,000 years is to the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years. I don't know if it took God 6,000 years to put all of this together or not, if that's what that means. What I do know is that God, I'm wonderfully made. All of us are fascinating creatures. And I do believe that in order for us to be able to explain the eye, just the eye, how those cells know what to do and everything coming together. I've read some goofy stuff, but I don't believe all that stuff. I believe that God created the earth and is maintaining it now. Okay? So the Bible and science agree. There is no separation between the Bible and science. They are in agreement with one another. Right? And it behooves us to, not fight against that. Right? There may be different parts. That's why I'm playing with the pictures. Maybe different things that we don't quite understand how he did it, but we understand that he did. Right? That's why we exist. God took the dust from the earth. I've talked about that before, the soil, and he made us. Now, what is blessing us, that even though people go off into evolution and things like that, what's blessing us is that DNA evidence, science is agreeing, it is showing us, it is proving that the black man is the father of civilization. And we should embrace that. Those of us that are black and those that aren't, there's no reason to fight it if the evidence is there. And there are plenty of scientists, I'm going to teach you how to pay attention to something tonight. And I'm hoping that it'll be a useful tool as you're reading through some of, I'm encouraging you to read scholarly articles, not just, you can Google and find anything you want. Sometimes you have to check out the scholars to make sure they're right. I'm going to show you a bit of how to do that tonight. All right? Because it's very important that you know how to use some discernment. And these aren't difficult tools. These aren't difficult tools. No matter where you look, wherever man has been, when they do reconstruction of skulls and use DNA evidence, like they did on that third picture on the top, when they reconstruct these things, they're finding black skin. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? Doesn't matter where it is. When they go back as far as they can, they're finding black-skinned men. Now, what I'm teaching you, I believe, theory, is before the flood. Just after the Garden of Eden, somewhere in that gap. Most of what I'm showing you. But as they spread from Babylon to go into other territories, they leave black. How do I know that? Let me be redundant. Because no matter Shem, Ham, or Japheth, it does not matter. When they find these skulls, when these people spread out across the world, when they do this DNA research, they find black-skinned people. Remember that part, black-skinned people. Let's go a little deeper. What was the first skin color of humans? Let's prove this. Let's not just talk about it. Just throw it out. Let's do some evidence. At the bottom of each one of these questions, these queries that I have here, that's the place you can go and look that up. Hence the leading hypothesis for the evolution of human skin color purposes that from about 1.2 million years ago, which you already know I don't believe in that, but you can watch when they do the DNA evidence, it doesn't go back that far. It's always somewhere around 8,000 years forward, right? But anyway, the information's good, the timing is off. That's the way I feel about it. All right, 1.2 million years ago to less than 100,000 years ago, make up your mind. Archaic humans, including archaic Homo sapiens, were dark-skinned. Dark-skinned people. That's what science is saying. Now, let me just work through this. It is a result of a mutation in one of the 7 genes labeled as the ACA1 to the ACA7. ACA causes decreased pigment in the skin, hair, and eyes, as well as vision problems. The amount of pigment varies, sorry, it's small for me, varies at the resulting color of skin, hair, eyes, and also varies by and within types. I think I saw that. All right, so I'm going to show you what that means with variations in just a second here. Abstract differences in skin and hair color are principally genetically determined and are due to variations in the amount, type, and packaging of melanin. We've talked about this. Melanin polymers produced by melanocytes and secreted into keratinocytes. Pigmentary phenotype is genetically complex and at a physiological level complicated. So in other words, this isn't easy to figure out, but I want you to understand that there are some consistencies. Right? So, and what this means is when we're looking at, we're going to talk about this a little bit too. I'm just trying to lay a bit of a foundation, but you got to follow me tonight. When it's talking about eye color, there are different kinds of explanations that you'll hear that have to do with why eyes are the color that they are in terms of they know what's not in there. I've got some other research. I didn't even make a slide for it because it's starting to make good sense to me, but it might be too complicated to just throw that out there and you don't have the background for it. But what it's talking about is eye color and things like that. They may not be able to figure out where it all comes from, although there are some that try to determine that, started in Sweden and all of that. But what you have to remember when you're reading that stuff is that still when they do research, when they do DNA research, the first person they find has dark skin. Spain, Portugal, Germanic area, Ukraine, I showed you a picture from there. Russia, I'll show you Sungir Man real quick again tonight, right? Cheddar Man, he's going to come up tonight because I want to make a connection to Australia. So there may be things they can't figure out exactly when it comes to eye color and things like that. However, what they do know is what they look like when we started. That's the point I want you to get. What is the gene that causes black skin? Now, you're going to have to do a little some of this on your own to really make this make sense because it took me a minute, but you'll get it. The top 3 regions that were associated with skin pigmentation were SLC 24A5, SLC 45A2, and ACA2. A variation of these genes explained a large portion of skin pigmentation in variation our data set. All right. So especially when you're looking at the SLC part of it, there's consistency. And sometimes the absence of these things, you can look at that, right? Kind of like a code. And if there's something missing from the code, from the combination, you already know what color the person's skin's going to be. Good time to stop and tell you that's the only thing that differentiates one person from another. Not God in heaven made one person more intelligent than the other. It's just skin color. All right. SLC 24A5 is a previously unreported non-syndromic cutaneous, man, I did it earlier. I knew it was going to happen. All right, albinism, candidate gene. NCKX5, a natural regulator of human skin color variation, regulates to expression of key pigment genes MC1R and alpha MSH and altered cholesterol homeostasis in normal human melanocytes. Now, why did you put that in there? Because if you want to check me out, and the way I've been getting challenged lately, not so much in this, but this other little crazy stuff that's been happening, there's your evidence. And if you understand that and what's going on, then you understand why we are the color we are. Do the research. When did these mutations occur? The gene that causes lighter skin pigmentation, SLC24A5, was introduced from Eastern Africa to Southern Africa population just 2,000 years ago. Now, I can work with that a little bit better. Strong positive selection caused the gene to rise in frequency among some Khoisan population, which I actually have a couple pictures of those folks. I'll show you in just a little bit. But what this is actually trying to tell you, as I see it, it's trying to say that until 2,000 years ago, just about everybody had color. I don't know if I buy that as much as I do the research that says it was about 4,200 years ago. I can buy that a little bit better than this. And the reason is because there's more people up in Europe at this point. And they've been there for a while. And some of these mutations, some of these changes have already occurred. It has been suggested that a single nucleotide difference in SLC24A5, please just catch this, accounts for 25 to 38% European African pigmentation during differences and correlates with lighter skin. What is this saying? Just a little bit of a difference. There was this Nigerian man and his wife that had a white child, blonde, blue eyes. Now, there was a recessive gene somewhere. But the point is that, you know, they were, I've got a picture of them. They were surprised, right? That this would happen. But it happened because it was just a slight variation. You understand? We're all the same. Black man was just first. And everything grew out of that. Let me move on. This genetic variant has also been associated with skin color variation among South Asians, talked about that, living in the UK. All right. I don't like the date on this, but anyway. These early humans probably, wait. So many slides looking the same. I need you to listen to me now. I'm going to show you how to catch them. Okay, because this is taken from an article where they already said the original man had black skin. This is another scientist on the same team that throws this vague 2 cents in. So be patient with me. Let me teach you this, and then we're going to move on to some of these articles. The early humans probably, there it is right there. Probably, I think, perhaps, maybe, you can't just be reading this stuff blindly. Right? Especially there are, and this doesn't happen as much in our era because people do what I do. Scholars check out the scholars. There was a time when people were so racist that a scientist was almost obligated to say something that supported white supremacy. And nobody was going to ever check it out or question it. That was what he was supposed to do. But if you throw something out now and don't back it up, then it's open to scrutiny. That's one of the reasons why I'm so careful with you. these early humans probably had pale skin. Well, how is that going to happen? Because your colleague just said that they were black and from Africa. How is that? Let's see. Much like humans, we're back in evolution now. And that's why evolution was so popular, because what they were trying to say is that on the evolutionary chart, white man's here and the black man's here. So we might not even have souls because we hadn't reached a level yet of being fully human. That way it was okay for us to be mistreated. It was if a slave was set free, you are depriving, this is a quote, you are depriving him of his rightful master. Because we need guidance. Now I'm going to let us learn to read or anything like that because we're ignorant anyway. No, it's called keeping you ignorant. Pale skin, much like humans, closest living relative, the chimpanzee. Oh, listen to this. I almost fell off my chair first time I saw this. Which is white under its fur. Around 1.2 million to 1.8 million years ago, early Homo sapiens evolved dark skin. So we started off white and ended up black. And just at some point, you just know somebody's got to try. But the word probably saves them if their colleagues challenge them on it. And I just want you to know that you need to look for those words. Catch it. Catch that probably. Catch that maybe. Now, there are some folks you got to be careful. They'll say probably in the next sentence. They'll go ahead and state it like it's a fact. I've seen that. But it just doesn't happen as much. Normally, I'm reading something from 60s, 70s. I mean, it ain't been that long ago. But I don't want you to, listen, I told you I'm going to teach you. I'm trying to make you the smartest person in the room. I'm trained to do this. So I catch this, so I want to make sure that you understand. That's why I'm taking the time to make sure that you get this. So when you're reading something, you catch those kinds of words. Oh, we're not talking about DNA anymore. We're not talking about science anymore. We're into somebody's theory. And whether you've got an agenda or not, I don't know if what you're saying is 100% accurate. Because you're just telling me what you think happened 1 to 2 million to 1.8 million years ago. Man, get out of here with that foolishness. It's just like Noah and the flood. This is a side note. Noah and the flood, when people are saying you got these different layers that are explaining what different periods were in time. But when the flood came, and if you understand how powerful the storms were and how upsetting the soil and all of that was, stuff was getting turned over, that the whole world is covered with water. When you understand that, Christian scientists have said, once that all settled back down, then of course you've got these different layers, but that doesn't mean that we're talking about different periods. But when you want a world without God, come up with it whatever you can. Here, let me give you a break. All right. Okay, here we go. How Europeans quickly evolved lighter skin. Now I'm going to read this. Let me tone this down a little bit. I don't want to feel like I got to shout. I just need you to listen, that's all. Darker skinned people lived in Europe until fairly recently by Maris, Maris, Fissenden. Yeah. The new data presented at the annual meeting of American Association of Physical Anthropologists comes from the genomes of 83 people found in archaeological sites across Europe, reports Ann Gibbons of Science. Science.org. It's actually an organization. I think I showed a picture. Science. Well, you'll see. There's another article from there, but I believe it was Science.org that wrote that piece that I showed, where it was 97.4% of the Chinese folks have African genes in them. All right. For years, researchers assumed that skin lightened as humans migrated from Africa and the Middle East into Europe. About 40,000 years ago. Here we go with that stuff again. Anyway, they'll clear it up. A sun lower in the sky and shorter day lengths would have favored skin that more easily synthesized vitamin D. We've talked about that a bit before. I don't want to get, this is some of these articles. Yeah, I don't want to get in that. Never mind. But researchers are now learning that other factors have been at play. For example, earlier this year, the genome sequences of hunter-gatherers who lived in what is now Spain helped build the case that Europe was home to blue-eyed but dark-skinned people. That's who Cheddar Man is. All right. This man, however, lived just 7,000 years ago. So when we actually do the DNA research, these folks aren't 100,000, 60,000, whatever, 7,000 years ago. The researchers write that their analysis suggests that light skin was not yet widespread and ubiquitous in Europe at the same time. Earlier work done with these genes of the 83 people in the new study, supported by linguistic evidence, also shows that populations in Europe about 8,000 years ago would have been mixed and diverse. All right, let me keep going. The new study adds to this growing pile of evidence. Gibbon reports that the researchers found that Europeans probably couldn't have digested milk until about 4,300 years ago. And the story of skin pigmentation is complex, she writes. And this is what she says. The new data confirmed that about 8,500 years ago, early hunter-gatherers in Spain, Luxembourg, Hungary, also had dark skin. What did they have in the beginning? Spain, Luxembourg, dark skin. This is what they're finding everywhere. This is consistent. This other article is just a repeat of this with some expansion or some other things. They lacked versions of two genes. Here it is again, SLC 2405 and SLC 45A2, that lead to depigmentization and therefore pale skin in Europeans today. But in the far north, where low light levels would favor pale skin, the team found a different picture in hunter-gatherers. 7 people from 7,700-year-old Motala archaeological site in southern Sweden had both light skin gene variations, SLC 24A5 and SLC 45A2. They also had a third gene, HERC2/OCA2, which causes blue eyes and may also contribute to light skin and blonde hair. Thus ancient hunter-gatherers of the far north were already pale and blue-eyed, but those of Central and Southern Europe had darker skin. Now understand, this happened over time though. They didn't start off that way. But what they're noting here is these are the first ones to make this change. Here's a quote. What we thought was a fairly simple picture of the emergence of depigmented skin in Europe is an exciting patchwork of selection as population dispersed into northern latitudes. Paleoanthropologist, paleo means hunter-gatherer, anthropologist, you already know what that means, study of humans. Nina Jablonski of Penn State told Science, that's the organization, the magazine, this data is fun because it shows how much recent evolution has taken place. I don't call it evolution. I think the human body just makes adjustments, right? Over time, the human body makes adjustments. Are you with me? The human body makes adjustments. All right, let me read this other article to you. It's kind of the same, but there's some other pieces that have been added to it. Whoops, hit the wrong button for show. That's the button I wanted to hit. Let me put this back up. I apologize for that. That's all right, though. I boosted everything down here so the cameras are acting the way that they're supposed to. So far, there haven't been any glitches that I know of. If that ever happens, I already told you guys what I'll do. All right, let me get through this part. This one is short. How Europeans evolved having white skin, starting around 8,000 years ago, okay? Ancient populations of Spain, Luxembourg, Hungary had dark skin around 8,500 years ago. This is Lula May. Oh boy, let's just say Smith. I don't know where she's from, but good gracious. E-L-E. All right. Europeans have not always been light-skinned and Caucasian, or in fact, a fairly new development on the continent, relatively speaking. They are. All right. According to a new study reported in Science magazine, it has been found that Caucasians are a product of a patchwork of evolution in different places across Europe, while scientists have discovered 3 genes that produce light skin, both of which have played a part in the lightening of Europeans. Skin color over the past 8,000 years. Since researchers began to sequence the genome of ancient populations last year, it has been discovered that Europeans today are the product of hunter-gatherers and farmers of at least 3 ancient populations having mixed together during their migration to the continent over the past 8,000 years. A little bit redundant. By comparing key DNA, we were all together, I'd say DNA. I know this isn't the most exciting stuff, but it is proof of what I've been telling you. By comparing key parts of DNA across the genomes of 83 ancient humans from European archaeological sites with recent ones from the 1000 Genome Project, Ian Matheson of Harvard University's Lab of Population and geneticist David Reich discovered the genes linked to skin pigmentation that had survived the natural selection process across Europe. Now, I don't believe in natural selection, but I do, yeah. Anyway, when modern humans first traveled from Africa to the continent around 40,000 years ago, they had darker skin, which was still seen in Spain, Luxembourg, and Hungary around 8,500 years ago. These humans lacked 2 genes. Here it is again, same stuff, All these scientists saying the same thing. SLC24A5 and SLC45A2, which led to the depigmentation and lightening of the skin. But in the far north, ancient bodies in Sweden from 7,000 years ago were found to have both these genes, and a third causing blue eyes, meaning they were pale skinned and blue-eyed. Once the first farmers from the Near East began to arrive in Europe and who carried both genes for light skin, they began breeding with the indigenous hunter-gatherers. One of the depigmentation genes became prominent throughout Europe to the point where Central and Southern Europeans developed lighter skin. So something happened, but that's not how they started. So I know there's mumbo jumbo in there and all of that, but the point is that's not how everybody started. It developed over time. You can see why I don't like to use the word evolved. But I get it, but it developed over time. Our bodies adjusted. We needed vitamin D. There was a time, I've shared this before. I might have to find a place to stop and pick this up later. There was a time that we couldn't digest milk. I know it's common now. You go to the store and you buy some. You put it in your pies and mix it with stuff and whatever, cereal and all that. But there was a time we could not do that. We were getting what we needed from the sun. That was what one of them was telling us, right? It's not the only reason that it happened, but that's a part of it. We were getting it from another source, the best source, the source God created. And no evolution made something as complex and hot as the sun. Do you know if the earth were to move off its current axis an inch, we wouldn't even exist? And you think somehow some natural selection put up... I'm sorry, probably preaching to the choir, you don't even need to hear that. But the point is that that's foolishness. What's in God's hands is much too complex. Much too complex to think that something... I mean, the theory of evolution is much harder to believe than creation itself. But let me leave all of that alone. The point that I'm trying to make is it doesn't matter who's looking at this. If I'm looking at Adam, which means earth, if I'm looking at Adam and I'm looking at Eve, if I'm looking at the first man that was created, I showed you where the dirt was dark. If I'm looking at science and DNA evidence that I've explained to you, I told you we were going to do this. Again, I ain't doing backflips and showing you all these, I'm not, but I want you to have this information. And when you look at this, science still runs into the black man. No, it doesn't make us better, but you dang sure can't not include us. Whoever it is you came from us. I showed you that video that was showing when they did research, right? Mother Eve, the first woman came from Africa. The first man came from Africa, and they say, proof, dark skin. This has been stolen from us. But now science and the Bible are agreeing with each other. This is a fascinating, exciting time. Nobody should be taking up a superior position because you don't have one. Every time they take a look, they run smack dab into the black man. It doesn't matter how far back they look. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the fascinating things pertaining to what they accomplished in. Word science actually means knowledge, but there are people that yeah. I'm going to pick this up right here next week. Let me finish this. Because we have people that are in Africa that have different color eyes. We have people that are in Africa that the tone of their skin, and again, I'm doing this real fast, but I'll pick this up next time. The tone of their skin is dark. The texture of their hair is straight. How is this possible? Is there mixing? Some. But I'm going to show you something from the Aboriginal people next week. Hair that was taken in 1921, and they can tell through current research that there's no mixture that's in there. This is pure. With the hair straight. The eyes are different colors. I'm not dispelling the other things that these researchers have found in Europe and all that, and Sweden and all the stuff that they're saying. I'm not saying that what I'm saying, what I am saying, though, is the gene that creates eye color and all of that looks like it might have already been in Africa. Looks like Cheddar Man may have already had that and didn't develop it once he got to Europe. Anyway, I got some other picture slides. I knew I might run out of time because I couldn't stop myself all week. I've already been learning this stuff, but I mean, I'm telling you, I must have put in 20 hours this week just to get us here. We'll do some more of this next week. Just finding a good place to stop. Listen, I'm Pastor Jackie Jackson. I hope you've learned something tonight. Go back and listen to this again. May the Lord bless you and bless your day. We'll see you next time.